the 7 healthiest foods to eat for natural weight loss this spring. Hey, what's happening? This is Isai Rodriguez, host of the Dad-Splanation Podcast, where I cater to the professional working man, 40 and above, who's looking to make positive changes to his health, lose weight, and become stronger overall through simple lifestyle changes. I'm here to share inspiration, tips, and proven lessons that I've personally learned and lived through in my 40 plus years on this here beautiful blue planet. So today we'll start the discussion off by talking about how to reboot your poor pandemic habits in our first segment. And then we'll move on to our second segment and talk about the 7 healthiest foods to eat for natural weight loss this spring, as in right now. And listen, your health and fitness goals are easier to achieve than you think. First and foremost, it's all about getting your mind straight right from the get-go. And so I've got a freebie for you called the 10 Dad-Splanation Mind Hacks that'll help whip your mind into shape so that you can turn around and whip your body into shape. Does that sound good to you? Then head on over to podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhacks to get your freebie today and start using these 10 hacks to exercise consistently and create the real and lasting results that you're truly after and that you absolutely deserve. That's podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhacks. Again, that's podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhacks. Be in the know starting right now. Also, don't forget to rate me on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you're listening to this episode right now, and leave me a nice, fat, juicy 5-star review and some absolutely beautiful words of why you love the show so much. It really helps me get the word out, and it's honestly one place where your vote truly matters. And now let's move into our first segment with Healthy Conversations. Oh yeah. So how is everybody? I hope you guys are all doing excellent. I hope you guys find yourself in good spirits, in good health. It's been getting pretty warm over here on the west coast of the United States. We've been hitting damn near 80s for the past several days. So I'm wishing all of you some warmth and sunshine from the Sunshine State to all of you guys. And if you're already in the Sunshine State, well, thanks for welcoming me here. I really appreciate this beautiful state. So anyway, let's get into the this week's Healthy Conversations. We're talking about, our pandemic habits, and more importantly, how to reboot your body from these poor pandemic habits, how to break the cycle, how to get out or, break these habits that we've built over the past year and a half, 2 years or so. So, let's face it, fellas and ladies, I know you're out there listening. Actually, a huge shout out to all the ladies who have the balls to listen to a show called the Dad-Splanation Podcast. Because when I first started this podcast, my main goal was to reach other men in my position, basically. So, professionals who were sitting at a desk all day, every day, but who still had the forethought and desire to want to be healthy or, healthier than what they were, you know what I mean? But I also didn't want to totally alienate women from benefiting from these discussions either, because, I didn't want to leave them out, you know what I mean? So I thought to myself, I said, how can I talk to men yet not leave out all the women out there? How do we do this in a way that doesn't alienate them? Because I don't and it came to me one day when I was playing with my son and my wife asked, are you mansplaining to your boy why he can't have mac and cheese every day? And of course I busted out laughing because I totally was, but I played it off. And, I played it off and said, nah, babe, I'm not mansplaining, I'm dad-splaining. So, boom. and that's more or less where the name came from. And it just kind of stuck. But, anyway, I've digressed a little. Let's get back on track here. We're talking about these new bad habits we started thanks to COVID isolation. You see, so in the early days of lockdown restrictions, these lockdowns had a deep impact on people's daily lives. I don't know about you, but I've been on plenty of meetings where I'm sitting there in my boxers and talking about business projections with my teams and, planning out, like putting together a plan of attack for whatever project that we were working on at the time. Crazy when you think about it. But, there was a short study that actually showed how the sale of alcohol skyrocketed during this isolation period, how physical activity dropped off sharply, like plummeted, you know what I mean? And how, quote unquote, comfort eating has led to so many people putting on unnecessary weight too, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but that goes for me too. I've put on a few pounds, but now I'm working to get back down to my pre-pandemic weight and probably lower than my pre-pandemic weight because, so what's happened since March of 2020? Again, this is crazy when you think about it. Like after 2 years of pandemic life, many of these effects are still present. For a lot of people out there, they turned to less than ideal ways of coping with the isolation. People who lost their jobs decided they needed to drink at 2 p.m. because, well, why not? And the verdict is now, this is no surprise to scientists who study behavior change. They know that when a shock in someone's life happens and forces a change in our behavior for an extended period of time, there's generally a carryover effect because we humans are sticky in our behaviors. So in other words, our new pandemic habits will be more than likely hard to break, period. That's the bottom line right there. So let's take alcohol, for example, since that's like a huge one out there, During the first week alone of stay-at-home restrictions in March of 2020, so we're talking about, we're in March of 2022 now. So we're talking literally 2 years ago now, During this first week, it was tracked that there was an increase of 54% in the national sales of alcohol. That's insane. Good for the owners of liquor stores, but insane nonetheless, Kind of reminds me of one of my friends who used to tell me how he always wanted to open up a liquor store because, simply because it's one of those industries or businesses that, is basically recession proof. Think about that. But not for too long because that's not what we're all about here. So a 54% increase is crazy. Seriously, do the math. It's insane. That's over 50 cents on the dollar. And now, think about the fact that bars and restaurants had to close for obvious reasons, you know what I mean? 54% increase overall. And in another study, it was documented that there was a 41% increase in heavy drinking among women. That's why women were on the back of my head for this discussion. And they were saying that in the months that followed the initial lockdown period, that there was an increase of 41% of heavy drinking, in women. So they said that women reported drinking 4 or more drinks within a few hours. That's one hell of a fucking happy hour. You know what I mean? Now, there was a reported dip in the sale of alcohol after the initial spike in the spring of 2020. So that's good news, but the most recent data shows that the amount of beer, wine, and hard alcohol sold were still higher at the start of this year, 2022, than they were in 2019. So the fact still remains that alcohol sales have stayed higher than they were before the pandemic. Also, a point of concern here were the changes in physical activity they've pretty much followed the same pattern as alcohol. So scientists at UC San Francisco analyzed data from a wellness smartphone app called Argus, which tracks daily step counts among users in countries around the globe. And what this data showed was that 1 month after stay-at-home restrictions started in 2020, people were taking about 27% less steps per day on average. So this was an average. This is not like literally per day. I mean, this was an averaged out amount. So initially the dip in activity was pretty drastic. Like the first month or two, that dip was huge, but luckily the lockdown started just before the spring and summer months. So this kind of helped the numbers bounce back a little because of the longer days and more sunlight. But then they dipped again once the fall and winter came around, but not all was lost because even though most people moved less, there were some people who actually took advantage of their time during the pandemic to get very fit. And now that we're starting to pull out of all of this, it's good to see that physical activity levels, like the amount of movement or activity that people are doing, it's gradually increasing. So people are literally slowly starting to get out and get moving as they were before. This is great news and a great opportunity to learn from this experience. This is an important lesson for all of us, really. I think we can all agree that it was way too easy to overeat during lockdown. Am I right? And we can also see how easy it is to not be active. This is a clear recipe for disaster in terms of, your heart health or so. In fact, across the nation, blood pressure readings have risen by 2 points. That's think about that. Like, I mean, you might be saying 2 points. That's nothing, and you're right. 2 points per, for one person is not much, if anything at all, to worry about. But when you're talking about an entire nation, 2 points is way too many points to be giving up, if you ask me. You have to think about whether or not these 2 points are going to translate into higher rates of heart attack and stroke and other conditions. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to wonder, like, how this is going to manifest itself across the population in the years to come. So we still don't, there's a lot of variables still, like, undefined, you know what I mean? On top of this, like, this is just the beginning. Like, more people have been missing their preventive care visits throughout the pandemic. That's not good. They're delaying everything from cholesterol checks to cancer screening. So as you can imagine, cancer is being diagnosed at later stages. A term that's been tossed around a lot the past year or so is this term herd immunity. Not sure if you've heard this before, no pun intended, but a lot of people say that we don't need the COVID vaccine because that's the way you build up, quote unquote, herd immunity. herd immunity. I don't know. Let me tell you, this is the dumbest thing I've heard in a while. And here's why. Don't crucify me just yet. Hear me out. First off, herd immunity is when a large part of a population of an area is immune to a specific disease. People think that by not getting vaccinated and catching COVID, like, willingly and letting it run its course, as they say, that they think that they'll develop this herd immunity. They'll develop some sort of way of defeating COVID. Let me tell you, this is a silly mentality, for a lack of better terms. In order for a society to reach herd immunity, they would all first have to have rock solid immune systems, an immune system that has the capability of easily defending itself against a virus like the coronavirus. I'm sorry to say this, but we as a nation, we're sick. And I don't mean mentally, you know what I mean? Although that's debatable also, but as a nation, we're not in a position to develop herd immunity. So that being said, I think it's time for a collective reboot, you know what I mean? To reset all of our pandemic habits. Is anyone listening out there? Like, is this microphone on? I hope I have your attention now, because even though some people have taken notice of this and have started to take advantage of some of the flexibility that comes with remote work, for example, like building in some physical activity into their normal daily lives, not everyone has that flexibility. So, that being said, I've got 4 tips to help you get started. You ready? So the first is make an appointment with yourself. Think about that. Let that stew. Try to schedule your workouts or, physical activity. Literally, like pull up your Google Calendar and look at it, size it up, and figure out where in your day you can fit in 30 minutes or more of exercise. This is how you make sure it's something you're actually going to do, just like you wouldn't skip a work meeting or doctor's appointment, right? Do the same with your exercise. Put it on your calendar. When you do this, when you put time on your calendar to walk, to run, or to go to the gym, you'll be surprised how much this can help you stick with it. Guaranteed. The second tip is, we're going to move right along, set bite-sized goals. If you want to run a marathon, listen, you've got to start with a mile. You're not just going to run out there on the day of the marathon and run the marathon and win it. You know what I mean? It ain't going to happen. So something small, something doable. You want to focus on something you can make progress on each day. When we have bite-sized goals, we're more likely to achieve them. This is true whether you're trying to change exercise or eating habits, or if you're trying to save money. It doesn't matter. Think about it. Saving $150 a month is the same as saving $5 a day. But when we focus on the smaller daily goal, it feels better and it's much easier to actually get to your goal of $150 a month. The goals don't seem as big or as impossible to achieve. That's just it. Tip number 3 is make it fun. You want to watch the new show on Netflix that everyone's talking about. I know. I'm right there with you. Instead of putting off your workout routine to watch that show, try this instead. Hold off on watching the show until you're at the gym. Think about it. You could be achieving your workout goal and enjoying yourself at the same time. Win-win, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Or, hear me out, if you've been waiting to reconnect with a friend, ask them to join you for a walk. You'll be combining that one-on-one connection time investment with your friendship, all while getting in your steps for the day. And you can, it doesn't have to be in person. These days we are super hyper connected, so if you want to FaceTime someone, if you want to just Facebook message someone, or, whatever, if you want to actually call someone on the phone, do it, but connect and do it together with a friend and catch up while you walk or jog or whatever. The point is that if you don't enjoy it while you're doing it, you won't last very long, period. That's the end of the day. So make it fun. Number 4, bet on yourself. There's a body of science to back up the idea that we're more likely to achieve our goals if we have to give up something because, we don't stick to our plan. Actually, there's some great research on cigarette smokers who want to quit smoking where they put up some money, they put some money on the line basically, and that they'll essentially lose if they don't quit within 6 months. Kind of like they're betting on the fact that they'll quit. And if they don't, well, just like in Vegas, you either win or you lose, right? But in this case, if they don't quit, if they don't hit their goal, they lose the bet with themselves and they lose their money. That risk reward type of approach, that like this is shown to improve success rates by at least 30%. And actually, you can do this online. There's a website called Stick, Stickk. I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's this website where you can register and then set yourself up with a goal, sign a commitment contract, and then you put up some money. You put up a little wager. If you reach your goal at the end of the commitment, then the money is returned right back to you. Otherwise, guess what? It's gone forever. And that's pretty hard to deal with if you ask me. I suppose you could do the same with a buddy, but having that unbiased third party is a game changer if you ask me. It's like losing $1,000 at the blackjack table in Vegas and then trying to beg the cashier or, to get your money back. Fat chance, right? It ain't happening. But there you have it, 4 tips to help you break your pandemic habits. And, this is the perfect time to do it. We're just rolling into springtime, and spring can be your fresh start to a new you. Because listen, the more you know, the better you'll be. And now, with all that said and done, let's switch gears and move on to our second segment with Mighty Man. Oh yeah. I really enjoyed that last segment, Healthy Conversations. That's a good, I don't know about you, but I have a bunch of habits that I think I need to write them down. I'm going to have to list them down every time I catch myself doing something stupid that I know that I normally don't or wouldn't do, and start working on them one by one, just bang them out. But anyway, that's just me. That's a bonus tip. How about that? We'll call that a bonus tip. Bonus tip number 5. There you go. But let's move on to Mighty Man. We're talking about the 7 healthiest foods to eat for natural weight loss right now, this spring, right now, because we're approaching spring. Has spring actually? I don't know. Maybe by the time you hear this, spring would have already has sprung. I don't know. But maybe I should have Googled it before I came on, before I recorded this podcast. But listen, this might come as a shock to some of you or not. I know many of you are as smart as a whip, as they say. But in case you didn't know, not all calories are created equal. So, for example, there used to be this misconception that avocados, fruit, and some healthy oils made you fat. These days, we know this is not the case. There's so many studies out there that have shown in the past how healthy fats and fiber-filled fruits are actually the keys. Those are the keys to losing weight naturally. And the 7 foods we're about to talk about will keep you fuller longer and help your body burn away fat and shed that unwanted winter/COVID weight that a lot of us have inadvertently packed on. We were just talking about that in Healthy Conversations. And actually, some high-fat, calorie-rich foods will actually give your body the nutrients that'll support a healthy metabolism, but only when you eat them in moderation. So I've got to throw that in there, They may be high in calories or fat, but, when you eat them in moderation, you'll get some good nutrients out of them, and they'll, also keep your blood sugar low, which is key for a lot of people out there, especially in the US. And now, keeping your blood sugar low has other benefits too, like boosting natural weight loss. So it's really important to always keep that in mind. So if you're able to naturally lose weight, like boost that natural weight loss mechanism that your body has, then that alone is has good benefits to it as well, So some nutritionists even suggest that in order to lose weight and keep it off, they say to ditch diets altogether. Like, stop focusing on Weight Watchers or Atkins or even the more recently popular keto type diets, and instead, forget all that and start focusing on adding more whole plant foods to your plate. So if one of your personal goals for the springtime is to get in shape or simply eat cleaner to be healthier, then you might be surprised to find out how easy it actually is. So let's get right into it. The first food item that'll set you up for a six-pack summer is the almighty avocado. Boom. I love avocados. I mean, what's there not to like? You know, it helps you feel fuller longer and reduces your insulin resistance. If you love guacamole, here's some really good news that, you know, eating avocado may help lose weight due to its high fiber and healthy fat content. So 1 cup of sliced avocado has almost 1/3 of your daily recommended intake. Just 1 cup. That's it. Fiber and weight loss go hand in hand. And this is because it reduces your appetite, making you feel fuller longer. So if you're feeling full, then there's a good chance you won't be eating, right? In fact, after eating an avocado, you'll feel full for up to 6 hours afterwards. So if you eat an avocado midday for lunch, let's say, you know, this will help you avoid reaching for any snacks until dinner. So if you find yourself always snacking, maybe you just need to throw in some avocado into your diet. You know what I mean? Think about that. Like, your body will simply not crave those high calorie snacks and treats. You know, this is great if you're trying to burn fat, because this is one of the things that trip most people up. It's the whole snacking thing and not feeling full, or basically just feeling hungry all the time. We all know that avocados are known for their fat content. You know, they're that good fat. And this heart-healthy fat may also help you lose weight by getting your body used to burning fat for energy. Not only that, but there's a third reason avocados are beneficial for weight loss, and it's this. It's not just avocados that make you feel full or the healthy fats they have. I mean, that's good and whatnot, but there's a sugar in avocados called manoheptulose. I had to look that one up. This sugar helps the way your body uses insulin. It helps to reduce insulin resistance. So essentially, avocado is a perfect combination of fat, fiber, and a plant-based, naturally occurring carb that tells your body to burn more fat naturally. That's why avocados are so awesome. They have so many benefits, and think about that. It's all these compounding of effects to your diet, to your body. It fires up that natural inner fat burning mechanism that we all have, but hasn't been tapped into. Think about it. And while you're thinking about it, we're going to move along to the second healthiest food we have, matcha tea. So matcha is a Japanese green tea powder made from dried leaves. And this tea contains a powerful plant compound that has several known health benefits. So there's been studies that show that this compound helps reduce inflammation and increases a hormone in your body that helps you feel full. This is why it's used or recommended for those who are trying to burn fat naturally. You know, so you can find this compound in green tea more than in other teas because of the way that the green tea specifically is processed. So the way that green tea gets processed before you even buy it affects how much of this fat melting compound you'll find in it. And even though green tea has the highest amount of the compound, you can find it in other teas like oolong and black, but you'll have a lot less because of the way they're either partially or fully oxidized, according to one report. And green teas are usually made from the sinensis tea plant, and then the stems and veins of the leaves are removed. Once that's done, then the soft part of the leaf is ground up into a powder. This simple process is merely grounding the leaves down keeps the active ingredients intact. There's not much breaking down of the active ingredients within the plant. One of them being this fat melting compound that I keep mentioning, known as EGCG. So that's basically why matcha, and specifically, is better for you than many other teas that are more processed on their way to being packaged and sold and whatnot. So there's a lot less processing, if you will. You know what I mean? Like I said, they just pull the stem off and the veins, and then they ground the tea leaf itself into a powder. What you get in a matcha tea bag is as close to leaves off the vine as you possibly can get without cultivating the leaves yourself, in your own vegetable garden and brewing them as is. So, there you go. The third uber healthy food to start melting away that belly fat is chili peppers. I don't know if you knew that, but if you're like me and love spicy food, then this one is totally a win-win, because here's the thing. Chili pepper helps boost your metabolism and burn fat quickly, period. That's basically it. The ingredient that gives chili peppers a spicy kick and, that makes your eyes water and your mouth light up on fire, this is called capsaicin. It's also the active ingredient in cayenne pepper, but the capsaicin has been shown to help boost your metabolism and lower the feelings of being hungry. So the hormone found in these peppers is known to activate what's known as brown fat. And this brown fat transfers the energy from food to heat. This is basically the body's master controller that tells it to burn calories, and that helps you to burn fat and lose weight. This process of burning calories, you may have heard it before. It's known as thermogenesis, and they're actually still studying the connection between capsaicin and weight loss. But what can be said is that it does support healthy weight management. That much is pretty clear at this point, and that's why it's recommended as a weight loss ingredient, or some type of food that you should be getting into your diet. The fourth super healthy fat melting food is ginger. I love ginger. Ginger has a ton of good stuff going on. Let's start with the active ingredient of ginger, which is, oddly enough, gingerol. So this is a powerful antioxidant that has super anti-inflammatory properties. And it can also lower lipid accumulation in the body, which basically means that you'll store less fat. Basically, let's just put it that way. Who wouldn't want to store less fat? Let me know. There are studies that show how ginger may be a natural weight loss supplement. And there have also been studies done on rats where they fed a group of lab rats. They fed them gingerol along with a super high fat diet. So they got a bunch of fat rats and they kept feeding them fat stuff, fatty stuff. But they gave them gingerol, along with their fat. And then, of course, there was a control group that was fed the high fat diet, but no gingerol. And what they found was that essentially the rats on gingerol had a much healthier response to the food they ate than those not given the gingerol. So they found that these fat rats that were taking the gingerol, they had less side effects, I guess you would say. Like they were less likely to be more obese. But the fat rats that didn't have the gingerol, like they got fatter and some died and stuff like that. So it was pretty crazy. But a similar test was done on over 400 overweight people that had pretty much the same results. Half of the test subjects were given ginger supplements to see what the effect of ginger would have on weight loss. And what they found was that the people who had taken the supplements were able to reduce body weight and their waist to hip ratio. So not only did they lose weight on the scale, but they also lost several inches from their waist. Think about that. They also noticed that those people who had the ginger supplement improved major health markers. So they were able to lower their blood sugar levels, while at the same time raising their good cholesterol. So here's a kicker for you though. There was another study that looked at the effects of taking dietary supplements from green tea, capsaicin, and ginger extract, like all together, and especially what impact these three supplements would have on weight loss together. And, in the study that followed 50 overweight women for 8 weeks, what they found was that these supplements had like a lot of beneficial effects on weight and BMI and like the insulin and metabolism and stuff like that. So it looks like the verdict is in, and, ginger is a good thing to, add to your diet on its own, and when taken together with green tea and capsaicin, it's just good all around. So that being said, let's move on to the fifth healthiest food on this list, and it's oolong tea. We kind of mentioned this earlier, but it does help your body burn calories and break fat down. Both great side effects, if you ask me. We know that all caffeine, whether it's in coffee or tea, we know that it's stimulating. We know that, it increases your metabolism and your energy. And it's been shown to help people keep weight off. So like, who doesn't like that? You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want those side effects, if you will, But did you know that oolong tea is especially effective because the benefits of caffeine are combined with a compound that has the ability to break down fat quickly? It's true. Oolong tea is a traditional Chinese tea that is in its own category. It's between the black and green teas, and drinking oolong can help torch the fat while you sleep. How amazing is that? Like, who wouldn't want to drink tea at night and wake up in the morning just a bit lighter? Sign me up, my friend. I need some of that. Like, this kind of reminds me, note to self, need to stock up on oolong. Anyway, just like all teas, oolong contains caffeine. I mean, it's no different. It's a tea. It has caffeine. But because of the caffeine, the caffeine impacts energy metabolism by increasing your heart rate. So maybe not so good if you've got some other blood or heart related issues going on. But if you're good with all that and looking to melt some fat easily and naturally and in your sleep, then just know that there are studies that suggest that tea consumption may also increase the breakdown of fat, independent of the effects of caffeine. Like, besides the fact that it gives you energy and it gets you going, it literally breaks down fat. So think about that. The sixth fat melting power food is papaya. This tropical food is high in fiber, and we know how good fiber is for your gut and for maintaining those feelings of fullness, that being full. But it's got 3 grams, like, think about this. It has 3 grams of fiber per cup. That's a pretty good amount of naturally occurring fiber. If if you decide to add a citrus or tropical fruit to your diet, then just know that papaya is one of the better choices. Now, obviously, because of the high content of fiber you can get from it, that's what makes it such a good choice, And the fiber itself, it's been linked to weight loss because, again, it makes you feel fuller longer and it helps your body regulate blood sugar. This is important, super important, because it helps your gut release energy at a steady pace, like not all at once and then you just kind of crash. And so this steady pace will keep your blood sugar from spiking. And these spikes, like we said, it causes your insulin to tell your body to store energy in the form of fat. So naturally, if your blood sugar is not spiking, then you have less of these signals to your body and less storing of fat. Also, the fiber found in papaya slows down the digestion of things like carbohydrates. So again, carbs are one of those things that kind of cause these spikes in your body, which causes your body to store fat. But the fiber in the papaya, it slows down that whole process, so you won't get those spikes from the carbs. So when you slow down your body's intake of carbs, what happens is that you end up feeling fuller quicker and staying full longer. Sounds good to me, if you know what I mean? Now, I don't think I have to tell you that this is a good thing, right? Because it is. I mean, it makes it easier to lose weight, period. And because your body isn't digesting food so fast, then when you eat high fiber foods like papaya, you won't have any, or you'll have less, I guess, of a sugar crash. You won't feel hungry soon thereafter. You know what I mean? Like you normally do. Like if you have something that's high in carbs, you feel full for the time being, but then you have that crash and all of a sudden you're starving again. You stay feeling fuller longer. It's just that good, So let's move on to the seventh and final bikini body friendly food here. And that is coconut oil, or MCT oil. So coconut oil has what's known as medium chain triglycerides. So when these triglycerides are sold as an MCT oil, this is a popular additive to coffee. If you've probably heard this in the past, that like when you add it to coffee, it helps boost your natural body's fat burning mechanism, or that process. These oils, these MCT oils, can help push your body into ketosis. This is the metabolic state where you burn fat as fuel as long as you keep carbs to a minimum. So research has found that MCTs, this oil, increases the feelings of being full by helping your body get the message that it's full. So it's like a chemical reaction, if you will, that helps your brain get that fullness signal from your body. And now all this is great, but let's keep this little point in mind here. Like, coconut oil is just like any other oil. You'll want to use it sparingly. You don't want to overdo it, you know what I mean? Because here's the thing, if these so-called healthy oils can add to your overall calorie intake, like if you overdo it, you're packing on the calories, you know what I mean? So again, if you're counting calories and you're using coconut oil, then just make sure that you're accurately measuring the amount of oil that you use, so you keep precise track of your calories. And as always, the best way to lose weight, burn fat, and keep it off is simply by eating a diet of whole plant-based foods and supplementing your diet with premium supplements and staying active every day. You got this, it's easier than you think, In fact, that's why I put together my Mind Hacks freebie, so you can see exactly how simple it is to get started and stay committed to your goals. And so, with all that said and done, that's it, you guys. That's my show for today. I hope you found some valuable information here. If nothing else, I hope I've entertained you for a few minutes and was able to bring you a little manly sunshine to your day. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to listen to me. It's very much appreciated. On next week's episode, we'll be talking about sleeping in the Goldilocks zone. So fellas, if you'd like to know what's the right amount of sleep you need, then next week's episode is for you. And look, your health and fitness goals are easier to achieve than you might think. First and foremost, it's all about getting your mind straight right from the get-go. So I have a freebie for you called 10 Dad-Splanation Mind Hacks that'll help you whip your mind into shape so that you can turn around and whip your body into shape. Does that sound good to you? Then head on over to podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhack to get your freebie today and start using these 10 hacks to exercise consistently and create the real and lasting results you're truly after and that you absolutely deserve. That's podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhacks. Again, that's podcast.dadsplanation.com/mindhacks. Be in the know starting right now. Also, don't forget to rate me on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you're listening to this episode right now, and leave me a nice, fat, juicy 5-star review and some absolutely beautiful words of why you love the show so much. It really helps me get the word out, and it's honestly the one place where your vote truly matters. Till our next chat, take care now. Bye.